Chapter 14, Lesson 2, Material Costing. Material control. Material control means the process of organizing and controlling of purchasing, storaging and issuing of stocks, avoiding unnecessary investment in stocks and stock shortages, so that the production process can be done continuously. Now you can see that there are three parts under this material control process. That's purchasing, storaging and issuing. Buying inventories, storing those inventories and then issuing. And the objective is to avoid unnecessary investment in stocks and stock shortages. Types of material control: purchases, the buying process; stock control, storing process; issues control, issuing process. Purchases control. What's the main objective of purchases control? It is to ensure that goods have been purchased at required time, required quantity and type. The three main factors are required time, required type and required quantity. Purchasing procedure. Look at this diagram. We'll start from all departments require goods part. Every department inside the organization will need some items like printers, computers, fans, like that. Then if they want any item, they have to purchase those items through the purchasing department. Therefore, that department has to inform the purchasing department to buy the specific item. Then the purchasing department will be checking whether they have that item in their own stores. Then they will be requesting from the stores department to provide the information. In case if they have goods in their own stores, they can easily get them from the stores. Then the stores department will provide the item to the purchasing department, and the purchasing department will be providing the same item to the department who ordered the item. But in case if you don't have that item in your stores, you have to buy from outside. Then the purchasing department has to follow 6 steps. Number 1, inquiry of price quotations. Number 2, select the suitable supplier. Number 3, sending purchase order to the selected supplier. Number 4, receipt of materials. Number 5, sending purchase goods to stores. Number 6, make the payment. Now we are going to learn about these 6 steps one by one. Step 1, inquiry of price quotations. The purchasing process will be started with the purchase requisition. Purchase requisition is a formal request issued by the head of a department or other authorized officer to the purchasing manager to purchase some specified materials. For example, we'll assume that the marketing department needs a printer. Then the marketing department has to prepare a purchase requisition. Then the head of the marketing department or some other authorized officer has to sign this purchase requisition. Then the signed purchase requisition has to be submitted to the purchasing manager of the purchasing department. Purpose of a purchase requisition. It initiates the purchase and sets the purchase process in action. It provides a written record of details like quantities, specification, etc. It provides dates for reference. Look at this purchase requisition note. Now, when the purchasing department receives a purchase requisition note, the purchasing department can start the purchasing process. Then the first thing they have to do is they have to find a suitable supplier. If you already have registered suppliers to the company, you can easily buy from them. Otherwise, you have to call for price quotations from several suppliers. Step 2. Select the suitable supplier. If you already have registered suppliers with you, then you can select those suppliers. Otherwise, now you have sent price quotation inquiries for several suppliers, then you can compare their prices, delivery dates and other terms of the sale, and then you can select the most suitable supplier to buy that item. Step 3. Sending purchase order to the selected supplier. Now in the previous step, we have selected a supplier. Then the purchasing department has to send a purchase order to the selected supplier. What do you mean by a purchase order? It is the form used by the purchasing department authorizing suppliers to supply the specified materials at a price and terms stated therein. Now, normally the purchase order will be prepared in 5 copies. The original copy will be sent in to the supplier. Second copy will be retaining by the purchasing department. Third copy will be sent in to the receiving department or the stores. Fourth copy will be sent in to the accounting department. And the final copy will be sending to the department who requires this item. Look at this purchase order. A purchase order should be carefully prepared as it forms a basis of legal contract between the parties concerned. For this reason, authority to sign purchase orders should also be restricted to selected responsible officials only. Step 4. Receipt of materials. All incoming materials should be received by the receiving department. While they are receiving materials, they will be getting the document called Supplier's Advice Note, and they have the purchase order copy with them. Then this department performs the functions of unpacking the goods received and verifying their quantities and conditions. The quantity is checked against the purchase order copy and the supplier's advice note. Then the receiving department will be preparing a special document called Goods Received Note, GRN. Full particulars of the goods received are entered on the goods received note or GRN. Purpose of GRN. It informs the storekeeper or other requested department of the receipt of materials. It notifies the accounting department that the materials have been received and that a payment voucher can be prepared. When it includes columns of cost, it can serve as a source of entry in the store's ledger. The original copy of the GRN will be sent into the purchase department and the second copy will be sent into the storekeeper or the requisitionist, and the third copy will be sent into the accounting department, and the last copy will be retained by the receiving department. Step 5. Sending purchase goods to stores. There we have two main activities. Number 1, inspection and testing of materials. Number 2, return of rejected materials. Now we'll consider inspection and testing of materials. Goods received should be inspected for quality to ensure that they comply with specifications stated on the purchase order. Where technical or laboratory inspection is necessary, the goods are passed to the laboratory, which will provide a report on the quality of goods. An inspection report is prepared to show the results of the inspection. This report will be prepared separately or will be prepared incorporated in the GRN. Anyway, that has to be forwarded to the purchasing department. Return of rejected materials. If you have received any damaged item or any item which is not in accordance with the purchase order, then you have to return that item. Then you have to prepare a debit note and you have to send the items with the debit note. Then the supplier will be issuing a credit note to you. Step 6. Make the payment. At this time, we have received the sales invoice from the supplier. Now the payment voucher has to be prepared. Invoices are numbered serially and entered in the invoice register. The following documents are attached with invoices to support payment. Those documents are purchase order, goods received notes, inspection report. If you have a return, debit or credit note, then the payment voucher can be prepared and then all the payments can be arranged to the supplier. Now we are going to discuss about storekeeping and the documents used for storekeeping. There are two main documents. Number 1 is the bin card and number 2 is the store's ledger. Now we are going to consider these two one by one. Bin card. Bin is a container in which materials are kept. Bin card for each item of material in store separately maintained by the storekeeper. A bin card is attached to the bin in which the material is stored. Bin card shows the details of receipts and issues of materials and the balance in the stock at any time. The most important thing is bin card includes the quantity only. It does not include the price of inventories. Stores ledger. Stores ledger is a statement which shows receipts of materials and issues of materials and the balance stock with values. You can see in the stores ledger, you have the quantity, unit price and amount of inventory purchases, issues and the balance. The difference between the bin card and the stores ledger. Put a star there. This is very important. We are going to identify three main differences. Number 1. Bin card includes quantities only, but the stores ledger will be including quantity and the money value both. Number 2. Bin card will be maintained by the storekeeper and the stores ledger will be maintained by the cost department. Number 3. Bin card will be prepared before a transaction takes place and the stores ledger will be prepared after the transaction.